is again a video about a touch of autism, and again no script, just from the top of my head, which might be a little bit chaotic, but okay. The advantages and disadvantages of getting your diagnosis is I already had a diagnosis of a social phobia, but my family physician, who knows my background and my parents, etc., thought there was much more going on. She asked me to just glimpse a little bit about a highly functioning autism, and I could recognize some points there. So then it was the issue from, was I going to go for official diagnosis, which offered me probably the option of getting help, especially for my case, which needed probably more help than cognitive therapy for social phobia, and medication to support my emotions or panic attacks, because it mainly was that I could not function from panic attacks. I have dealt with problems my whole life, but I learned some tricks to function. But after 15 years of taking care of my parents in more or lesser situations, I could not function anymore. It turned out that first of all, the fellow caretakers which helped, which were professionals, said that my husband and I probably had care burnout, but we couldn't stop because I was an only child, and my parents did not make many friends and were very withdrawn, hence the thought that I had a social phobia. So the care was resting on my shoulders with the help of my husband, and after that I could not function anymore, and together with my family physician I decided I have nothing to lose, I'm going to go for official diagnosis. But before really taking the step, I discussed it, or more put a question about it on a Facebook group of females over 40 with autism. And the reactions were divided. But as I said, I still had the idea, I had nothing to lose, so I went for it. First of all, I want to advise, if you are going to find an institution which offers that service, check with your insurance. I know it's different in every country, but in the Netherlands sometimes it falls under insurance if you have the right branch, the right firm of psychologists which are working together with the insurance companies. So first check with your insurance, because you don't want to have the problem that you think you don't have to pay it yourself and you end up with high bills. Then second of all, especially when you're not feeling very well, check where they are. For example, I'm in a village, a large village, but it has a lot of facilities like hospitals and so forth for etc. For that you have to travel to the city. So I had a limit of, for me, it had to be reached with one bus, the bus from the village to city. I can deal with that. If I have to have city transportation like metro, subway, or city buses, it gets too much. It feels unsafe and too crowded, etc. So I knew what my limit was, and I tried to go for institution which was reachable by our local bus line. Well, it turned out that later on they were all moving to another building, which I did not know, which was further in the city, and even you had to deal with kind of automatic shuttle service or something. But anyway, you can't predict that. But for starters, I hope you won't be that unlucky like me. For starters, find out that also your travel is doable. Then a little bit about the pros and cons. I thought it would help me, and it might still help me, because I am from a generation where kids were just kids, all kinds of different kids. There were no labels. So it was a little bit difficult for me to get myself a label. On the other hand, I thought, if I know what is going on, I can get the right help, right medicines, and tricks to function more or better or lose less energy. So it was, in my opinion, worth the problem that I had to travel there, because they want to have the conversations face to face. Later on in the treatment, you can call by video cam or something like that, but when they have to diagnose you, you have the face to face discussion. So it took a lot of energy, but I was going for it, so I went to all the conversations. Well, at a certain moment they ask your partner to come, and they prefer to also have people from your past, because it is a development that starts in your youth. Unfortunately, both my parents died, and as I said, they were not social, so my uncles and aunts only came on birthdays, did not really see me in action. It sounds weird. So the only thing I had was my niece, which was also my friend in my youth, until a certain moment when she started to be a teenager and I didn't. Anyway, it has to do with who I am, what I am. So that was kind of a problem, because they did not have very extremely reliable sources. I do not have siblings, my parents were not there, only thing I had was my niece. So that is also something you have to think about, sources from your youth. Where can you get them, and are they willing to help you, and are you brave enough to ask for them to help you? Well, everything went okay, and in the end it turned out I'm just in the autism spectrum. Then you have your diagnosis and you think, hey, I finally have it, and everything falls into place. That is really the case. Looking back on it, I think, okay, now I know why I am, who I am, whatever. You understand what I'm trying to say. But also you realize how sensitive you are, and that's a kind of little depressing. So it's a lot of work to get a diagnosis, but when you have your diagnosis, you feel split about it. It helps you to understand, but by understanding yourself, you realize how much in the world affects you, and that makes you kind of, to me, in my case, makes me feel weak. It helps a little bit because it's not social phobia. So with a social phobia you learn, go into it, and it lessens. But it did not lessen with me. the feelings of panic, etc. So I know now that I don't have to go in it and in it and in it, because it's never going to go away. The feelings I have with going into crowds, etc., etc. It's kind of little bitter also. So, as I said, I understand myself better, but I also realize that I have to deal with all this and find my way, and that there is a lot of things that influence me, which I did not realize. So it makes you kind of feel weak. You understand yourself better, but you also realize you're weak, and that the feelings you have when you are functioning under people and doing things with a lot of people and a lot of interaction are going to stay difficult. So that's my personal experience with the pros and the cons of going for official diagnosis. One of the pros is also that you can join in my country organization, foundation of autism, and that you can request an autism pass, and certain places like entertainment parks, etc. They when you show the pass, they have certain ways that makes it a little bit easier for people like me. But I still have to think about that, because as I said, mixed feelings. I'm going to request a pass because it's also handy to show them when you freeze or something like that, because I freeze. When something unexpected happens, I freeze. You might be able to hold up your autism pass, and people might understand why you are freezing and can't function anymore. So I still have the travel in front of me to find out the beneficial side of having the diagnosis. So I hope this helps you a little bit if you're doubtful yourself, and if you enjoyed this video, please like or subscribe. Thank you for watching. Bye.